Tell me, which aspect of physics do students find most fascinating?
Work, energy and power.
I'm sure you must be aware of 3 biggest challenges that Bihar as a state faces today.
Yes.
Can you share that with the panel?
I think unemployment,
Okay.
large scale migration of people and poor health infrastructure.
How was your experience in IIT Delhi?
It was good experience.
Do you get good placements in IIT Delhi?
I got placement in PwC.
Sudhanshu, they usually say that girls are weak in mathematics. Do you agree?
No ma'am.
Why?
May I come in, sir? Good
Come,
afternoon, ma'am.
Sudhanshu.
Good morning, sir.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Sudhanshu Singh, you're from Bihar.
Yeah. Rohtas district.
Sudhanshu, is this your first attempt?
No ma'am, this is my third attempt.
What went wrong in previous 2 attempts?
Ma'am, in 2021, I went up to interview part, but in mains exam, I didn't do very well.
Okay.
Mostly in calculation part. So I did some calculation mistake, but I think this year I have done much better than that.
Sudhanshu, we see on your DAF that you also know Sanskrit.
Yes. I have given my exam up to 12th in Sanskrit,
Which lipi is used to write Sanskrit?
Devanagari.
Devanagari. And which lipi is used to write Hindi?
Sorry, I think Devanagari is used in Hindi only. In Sanskrit, I'm not convinced.
Okay. Sudhanshu, I see you have also appeared for civil services
Civil.
examination. Let's say we select you in today's interview.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you go on to write civil services exam?
No, ma'am. Currently, I have no plan for that.
But you have already done that in past.
Ma'am, actually, at the start, my plan was to prepare for government services. And so I started preparing for both civil services and ESE. And even my optional was civil engineering only. But during preparation, I realized that I will do much better if my
Tell
strength...
me, in your understanding, how is this job different from that of a civil servant?
Ma'am, here I think the job is mostly related to core in civil engineering branch, because I will be mostly related to the works that are there. They will be mostly related to the knowledge of what I have done in BTech and in my career. And administration part, I think we also require much, that is a much big, that has much bigger scope than I think in ESE. There are other aspects too, because...
Okay, you're from IIT Delhi.
Yes, ma'am.
You have rank 16 in GATE examination.
Yes,
and you like to teach maths and physics to students.
Yes.
Sudhanshu, they usually say that girls are weak in mathematics. Do you agree?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Ma'am, I think in the last few years, the results of student itself contradicts that assessment. Girls are the topper. So I think that itself is a contradictory.
When we evaluate the learning standards in Western countries and in India and we compare them, we see that students in India perform poorly in maths. Why is that the case?
Somewhere I think in the Indian education system, the education is mostly based on grade system. There are mostly theoretical part. Means students are judged based on how they are performing an exam, rather than applying that knowledge to practical. So in school education system, somewhere we score better, but when it comes to applying that knowledge in a practical part, there we lag, because our education system is somewhere lagging in applying the theoretical knowledge to practical part in school education system.
Sudhanshu, who invented zero?
Aryabhat.
Aryabhat. Are you sure about it?
Yes.
Okay, tell me one thing. If we divide any number by 0, what do we get?
It is not divisible. It's basically, in mathematical terms, we get infinity, but it's not a real number.
Why?
Infinity is something which we can't apply to something, means we can't calculate.
No, why do we get infinity if we divide any number by 0?
Ma'am, because the number will be indivisible with respect to the 0. So it will be large, and infinity represents something which is so large that we can't measure it. So that's why we assign infinity.
Okay, Sudhanshu, you teach physics also to students.
Yes.
Tell me, which aspect of physics do students find most fascinating?
Ma'am, work, energy and power.
Why?
Because it is mostly related to because here it is mostly related to what we do in daily life. Means we can apply practical knowledge in that. So it is more helpful for students to understand it practically. Like electrostatics and this part, they find it a little bit difficult to understand.
Okay. Being from Bihar,
Yes.
I'm sure you must be aware of 3 biggest challenges that Bihar as a state faces today.
Yes.
Can you share that with the panel?
I think unemployment,
Okay.
large scale migration of people, and poor health infrastructure is, I think, as per my opinion, is the biggest challenges that we are facing.
Okay. How was your experience in IIT Delhi?
It was good experience.
Do you get good placements in IIT Delhi?
I got placement in PwC.
Okay. And if I ask you what kind of specialization from private sector would you like to bring to government sector?
I think in private sector, the target achieving mentality, that means the competition is a little bit more in private sector,
Okay.
because there is a pressure to meet the guidelines, and basically what happens in private sector, our job is also dependent on how we are performing totally.
But that is in government sector also. You have a PAR and your performance is evaluated every year.
Yes, ma'am. But in private sector, I think there is little bit more competition than what is in government.
So you want to bring that competition to government
Yes.
sector? Okay. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Can you just tell me your favorite subjects?
Sir, solid mechanics, structural analysis, soil and RCC.
Why not airport?
So airport is also part. Currently, I think I am much better prepared for these topics.
But since you have cleared your mains examination, so you must be aware about the airport, hydrology and all
Yes,
that.
Yes.
Let me ask you from airport.
Yes.
How you will decide the orientation of a runway?
So orientation of runway is the major factor that decides the orientation of runway is the crosswind component. Like it should be either in it should be when the aircraft is flying, is flying and is about to lift off. The crosswind component should assist in lifting it, and when it is landing, the aircraft, the crosswind component, the wind should provide resistance to it. So major part is crosswind component, and it should not be more than certain percentage based on the type of airport that is.
How do we determine this crosswind component?
So we generally decide it based on a windrose diagram.
What is windrose diagram?
So it is basically a curve based on, it is basically a diagram based on 3-4 indicators like intensity of wind, percentage of duration during which wind is in a particular direction, and it determines like how much time in a year the wind is within the acceptable criteria or not.
Okay. And what is taxiway?
So taxiway is the path. Taxiway is the path basically used by taxis to provide equipments and materials, and even for the movement of passengers from the terminal to the airport, to the aircraft.
Okay. Did you ever get chance to fly in an aircraft?
Yes.
Okay. During your journey, during that flight, captain of that aircraft must have announced that we are flying at this much altitude from a missile.
Yes.
How did he come to know about that he is flying at this much altitude?
Sir, I don't know exactly, but I think maybe by pressure difference measurement.
What is that?
So we in aircraft generally use inverted manometer. Based on the pressure difference, we may measure the height at which we are traveling.
What is MSL?
So MSL is basically a benchmark to measure any distance, to measure any elevation with respect to a point, because it is used in survey, and it is generally the average of sea tides over a period of 19 years.
Why 19 years? Why not 21, 20, 15, 25? Why such a odd number? We have 20, such a auspicious number, 21. Why 19?
Sorry, sir, I don't know exactly. Maybe it will be on some research purposes, and maybe the tides, the effect of tides will be vary after 19 years. Whatever, so maybe on that.
Okay. Which is the highest peak in the world?
So Mount Everest.
Are you sure?
Yes, as per my knowledge, I think.
Mount Everest may be tallest, but I guess it is not the highest.
Okay, sir, I will look into it.
Fine, sir.
So, Mr. Sudhanshu Singh,
Yes.
what are the various modes of bolt failure in a steel connection?
So shear failure,
Shear failure of bolt.
bearing failure,
Okay.
tensile failure,
Okay.
and also the failure of bolt, failure of plate, tensile failure of plates, and block shear failure.
Okay. In a bearing type failure,
Yes.
how would you determine the bearing strength of plate? Can you write down the formula of bearing strength of bolt?
Yes.
Bearing strength of bolt in a bearing type connection.
Can I explain it?
As per ESE 800.
Yes.
Show me once. You have written the formula?
Yes.
Okay. 2.5
kdt
FU upon.
gamma mb. 75.
What is FU here?
So FU is yield strength of plate.
Yield strength of plate.
Yes.
FU
sorry, sir.
is
Sorry.
yield strength of plate.
FU is ultimate strength of.
But we are analyzing the bearing strength of bolt.
Yes.
Why FU is taken there? It should be FUB, na? Ultimate strength of bolt.
No, so basically bearing strength is what? Bearing strength is basically the force that is applied at the contact surface between plate and bolt. And generally we consider the effect of K, effect of bolt, ultimate strength of bolt we are considering in the factor of K. So that's why.
What is K here?
So K is basically a factor dependent on.
Write down the formula for K.
Yes.
So just I want to know, how would you find the bearing strength of plate now? This is the formula for bearing strength of bolt.
Yes.
Plate can also fail by bearing. So
Yes.
how would you find the bearing strength of plate as per ESE 800? Write down the formula for bearing strength of plate.
So I think plates mainly fail in shear failure and tension, like yielding and tensile failure. So bearing strength I don't know actually.
But plate can fail by bearing. Plate can also fail by bearing.
So it can fail by bearing, but generally it is when plate fails by bearing, either it is in the form of shear failure or tensile failure.
So how you would analyze the bearing failure of plate?
Sorry, sir, I'm not.
Okay. Next question is, what are the various methods to analyze the finite slope stability in the case of earthen slopes?
So there is Swedish circle method.
Okay.
And friction circle method.
Okay.
And sir, another way we can maybe analyze by stability number.
Okay.
That's all.
Friction circle method, as you told me.
Yes.
If you have a purely cohesive soil with phi 0, how would you apply the friction circle method there?
Sir, in friction circle method, basically the factor of safety is the ratio of shear strength of the soil and the shear strength applied. So in that part, that frictional component will be 0, the tan phi part, and because of cohesion, there will be shear strength. So that part will come. Like in that, what we do is we divide the.
Can you apply the friction circle method for a purely cohesive soil? Taylor stability analysis, have you heard of?
Yes.
It is based on which method?
Taylor system. Sorry, I
Don't remember. Okay, last question from my side. What is gantry girder? Where it is used?
So it is used in bridges. It is basically
It is used in bridges. Gantry girder.
so gantry girder. Gantry girder is basically used in industries to transport spans or bridges from one part to another.
To transport?
Spans of bridges from one part to another.
How you can use a gantry girder to transport the spans from one part to another? What span you are talking about? What is the equipment that you carry on the gantry girder?
So a crane.
For what load is it designed?
So it is designed for shear load.
Shear load.
Gantry girder is shear and moment.
What load you will take while designing the gantry girder for an industry?
So the load of the crane and self weight and also the impact loads.
How impact load is analyzed?
So it is based on IS 800, and that some part of the dead load and dead load is applied at. Like if it is based on certain criteria, like 25% or 10% of the weight lifted, we take that. So exact value I don't know.
Okay, so Sudhanshu, tell me what is difference between dead weight and impact load?
So dead weight is the self load that acts continuously over a longer period of time.
Okay.
And impact load is something which we apply sudden.
So what will be the relation of impact load and static load? Will it be more or will it be less than the static load, the impact load?
So
impact load is more.
So impact load will generate more stress than a static load.
Impact load will generate more stresses. Can you tell me on what basis we design these structures? So when, let's say we are designing a structure, do we consider the impact load for the failure or we consider the static load for the failure?
So we consider a static load and also we apply a factor of safety.
So if you are designing based on the static load, what is the factor of safety that you apply?
So it depends on the type of material and the
so
type.
Give me an example, example.
Like for concrete structures, we RCC structure, we generally use factor of safety 1.5. For steel, we use 1.15.
Okay. So in case of a suddenly applied load, what will be the minimum impact load that you can have as compared to the static load? Let's say static load is 100 kg and you apply a sudden load. What could be the minimum value of impact load?
Sorry, like in girder, in gantry girder, we take 25%, but in general, it can be up to two times.
Okay, so you are right over there that it should be minimum 2 times. It can be more than 2 times, but it is minimum 2 times. So if it is minimum 2 times and factor of safety is 1.5, won't your structure fail?
Sir, impact loads are very few. We have to also consider in part the economy part. We can't.
No, but let's say this pencil is there.
Yes.
I have to apply that load only once. It will break. So there is no concept of loading. It is only once. A building has to have only once earthquake and it is demolished.
Yes.
Will you wait for building to have or tolerate 100 structure or 100 earthquakes?
Yes.
So it has to be designed only for once. Once fail, that means fail.
Yes.
So how do we design it? Okay,
Sorry.
Perfectly fine. You said in aircraft you use inverted U-tube manometer. You use inverted U-tube manometer or you use static pitot tube? If you might have seen aircraft, front of an aircraft, there is something, a pointed object that is coming out.
Yes.
What is that?
Sorry, sir, I don't know.
Okay, that is actually a pitot tube. What is complementary shear stress?
So when we apply shear stress on the plane, so for equilibrium of forces and to maintain balance, shear stress acts on the perpendicular plane. that is complementary shear stress.
Okay. Will it always be equal?
Yes, as per my knowledge, it should be, because then equilibrium will not be there.
Okay. So tell me, what is a forced vortex?
So forced vortex is when we mechanically apply rotation to a fluid. That is forced vortex, like a liquid rotating about its center.
So will there be a complementary shear stress? Okay, no issues.
Sorry, you can tell me, yes.
I have seen that in lot of bridges, we see a gap of around 3-4 mm or 3-4 centimeters. Why that gap is kept?
So in the span.
In the span, yes.
So they are basically expansion and contraction joints.
Okay, so what happens by these joints?
So basically, they allow to expand or contract as per the temperature difference, and so there will be less crack.
Okay, so is this gap available anywhere else as well?
In
railway tracks, probably.
In any other structures?
Yes.
In railway tracks, they are. Even in generally in roads, we provide these gaps.
Okay, so in railway, you are saying we provide the gap, but nowadays they have started welding the tracks together.
Yes.
How will we account that expansion over there?
So even like we are welding the railway, but generally we are going for the concept of long welded rail.
Okay.
So there also the central part is not allowed to expand or contract, but in the ends there is a zone where they can expand or contract. Like we are called breathing length.
No, but in the ends you have fish plates.
Yes.
Which are like fixed onto your fixture. How will there be an expansion? Let's say you have a welded rail of 1 kilometer.
Yes.
Expansion will be 10 centimeters. Do we provide that 10 centimeter gap?
No, sir. Actually, generally the length of welded rail is around 250 to 260 meter. So based on that, maybe there will some arrangements.
Okay, thank you.
Sudhanshu,
Yes.
let's end your interview with a very basic question.
Yes.
Women wear pointed heels. You've seen that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the physics behind it?
Exactly, I don't
It's
know.
very simple. If you try to think of it, it's very simple. Okay, let me give you a clue. Pointed heels are more painful for women to wear. Why? What is the concept of physics?
More pressure will be there.
Yes. Thank you. Your interview is over. Please wait outside. We'll call you back in some.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.